Thanks for having me, Bobby. Really excited to be here. And this is Proposabid. I am RoDevia Brigham, the founder and CEO. And on this webinar, the idea is just to, give you impactful strategies to make property maintenance and improvement processes more effective, cost efficient, effective, and timely for you. So who are we? Once again, I'm RoDevia Brigham. I was a wildland firefighter for about 15 years with the U.S. Forest Service, so I know a lot about buildings burning down. I work in cybersecurity currently, so I have a very if this, then that kind of mindset. And I also did wholesale property and rehabs for 10 years, specifically in Panama City Beach, Florida, and also in Oakland, California. And then we also have Daryl Langley, who is the Director of Business Development, and he oversees all of our marketing and sales strategies, has about 20 years, extensive experiences in the field and knowledge of AI, automation, artificial intelligence, marketing. He was the director and partner of business development with Just Branding, where he has considerable amounts of contributions to the sports and entertainment marketing sector. And he's worked with both startups and Fortune 500 companies. So I'm very excited to have Daryl on my team. And he's currently becoming a pilot, and he is an enthusiastic marathon runner. And he's completing his 6th marathon on February 24th. So in a couple of days. If you want to know more about him, you can scan that QR code there. So what is Proposabid? And that's a great question. I like to start off with the best way to predict the future is to create it. And that's what Proposabid is. And Proposabid is a value-added shower moment. And what I mean by that is that I was in the shower one day and I asked my partner, hey, if you could automate anything, what would it be? And she said, well, if I could just get vendors to pick up their phones, answer their emails, give me good bids, and then I could make good decision based on the bids that are being submitted, that would be great. I said, well, that should be fairly easy, right? And apparently that's not the case. So what we do is that we help mitigate risk, address issues with decision making, add resources, and increase profit and NOI, which gives you a faster and lower cost decision making model. So we also service people like rehabbers, bankers, single family residencies, multifamily property management, asset managers, and anything in between. And apparently our resources are very needed because just on this webinar here, one of my mentors and favorite people said, right here below, the real estate industry needs your solution. So I think that's very true. And what I want to share with you today is, and I was supposed to keep this to 10 minutes, so I'm going to try to keep this to 15 minutes here on this webinar. But basically, what is it that we aim for when we're building out properties? And what we're trying to do is have successful vendor engagement. And there's about 3 to 4 parts that work with that. One is a foundation, that's creating the scopes of work. You got to market a good scope of work out there, right? And hit the mark. The second piece is the marketing piece, which is what I consider magnetism, or create the vendor garden. And then you have the bids that come in, and that's your value, right? Your bid analyzation is the value that the vendors bring to the table. And then encompassing all that is the clockwork, speed, and timing that comes with that. Speed in creating the sell, speed in the marketing, and speed in the bid evaluations. And so talking with my partner, this is what she was referring to. But over the past 4 years, this is what I've been able to piece it out as, right? And in that, all of that should be fairly simple. Every day we're trying to execute these steps, or someone on your team is trying to execute these steps at 100%, dedication, making sure that they're able to save time and money around the bids and repairing the properties. And if this is the case, most people wouldn't be on these podcasts, wouldn't be on Bobby's webinar. So just really quick, I want to just give some examples of what it is that Proposabid does in the all-encompassing of the 4 steps. And this is a model here from FPI, which is FPI Management Link Housing. And back in July 2023, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but there was a roof repair that needed to be done for 7 roofs. And we created the scope of work for that. We marketed out that scope of work. In 28 business days, we were able to get 7 vendors, and we were able to end a 3-year ordeal, which is quite a long time, where the properties weren't able to get any vendors out, any bids, no repairs, or anything like that. And it also triggered the current warranty status for the previous roof that was put on. And therefore, they were able to get to that discovery process through our vendors. And we were able to also set a new standard of property repair for that particular property itself, and also mitigate other repairs on the property's behalf based on this one scope of work, marketing, and getting the discovery process there. So one of the things I kind of want to talk about here is the time and the money, right? So time and money either equals things are being efficient or it's being wasted. And we don't want to waste our time and we don't want to waste our money. We want to be efficient in all of that. And when it comes to bids and properties, typically on a property, you're supposed to spend about 25% of the workload per day, per year, to be able to do something that's called curb appeal. That's property enhancement, making sure that things are being repaired, making sure that you have all the necessary equipment and needs for the residents, and also satisfying the owner's propositions that are being made. So what we're actually doing and what we think we're doing are kind of 2 different things. So over the next couple of slides, I want you to think about efficiency or wasted time. Okay, is there any questions here so far? Or is everybody still with me? Okay, cool. So on a property, you can put yourself in the place of either a single mom and pop, right? You got a duplex, or you've got 1,000 doors. Somebody has to manage those. So you can place yourself in any one of these positions. But typically you have a maintenance person who does all the maintenance. And then you have a community director or somebody that takes the money in, they're servicing the residents, they're going to court, they're doing evictions, they're doing all the on-site maintenance, on-site duties that need to be done for the residents themselves, along with the maintenance persons that's doing all the day-to-day repairs and curb appeal. So this $30 an hour at $64,000 a year, that's what they make per year, right? And at 2 hours a day, 10 hours a week, 40 hours a month, and you get down here to that 250 hours a year, basically we're looking at is how much time each person is taking to be able to either be efficient in getting the bids, making sure the property is in good status, talking to the vendors, making sure that everything is up to speed, versus never getting anything done. The bids are getting lost in emails. The property can't make any decisions. There's not more than one approver on the property, so repairs go at a standstill. So if you have your maintenance person and your community director looking at the same bids, then these dollar amounts per year really add up. Are they being efficient, or is it being wasted time? Then you also have your asset managers, right? Your asset managers tend to have 5 to 7 properties. And then you have directors that have 5 to 7 asset managers. So that means they have anywhere between 30 and 50 properties. If your asset managers are taking a look at bids, they're going back and forth with the vendors, bids are getting lost, people are getting fired, things aren't getting done, then somebody else has to take this over, which is the director, right? So that dollar amount really increases for those two. Now, the director tends to have a majority of properties, so that dollar amount really doesn't equate when it comes to your on-site staff per hour. But then your asset manager and your directors only have so much bandwidth because they have a large number of properties and they can't dedicate equal amount of time to looking at those bids and making sure those properties are repaired, because that's your on-site staff that has to do that. So when you look at this dollar amount all together between all 4 all year long on just one property, you have about 2,000 hours, which is about 90 days, right? 3 months. And in those 3 months, do you have, the right bids, the right allocations? Are you being efficient or is it being wasted? And that dollar amount is about $100,000 per year. And that's just on one property. So you can multiply that amongst the rest of your portfolio. How much time is being wasted? How much money is being wasted? Or is it being efficient? So does that make sense? Anybody got questions about that? If this is eye-opening, give me a thumbs up in the chat. Okay. So typically when I go through this, it is something that properties do kind of consider, but they don't actually have a dollar amount for. And they do know that there's a number of steps that need to be had. So knowing what you know now, what we're trying to do is create a future where property repairs are being done in efficient coordination and management is effortless over those repairs and getting those bids. And what we've done is that we are trying to make it so that there's one place that all these things are happening to where we're taking it off the property's plates and the employees' plates and giving back the property those time, resources, allocation, and that dollar amount. And so what we've come up here with is something called micro bidding. And it's a done-for-you simplified bidding and estimation platform that's can save you lots of time and thousands and even millions of dollars because there's fees, fines, penalties, levies, government agencies, based on the fact that the property does need to have that curb appeal, or there's permits, regulations such as SB 721 that's coming down the pipe, to where properties have to be in compliance. And if they're not in compliance, then that could cost you a lot of money in fees, fines, and even lawsuits. So in that, I just want to show you a little bit of what it is that people have been saying about the platform. And what we do here is that we're able to create a marketing piece, right? So we create scopes of work, take that marketing piece, ship that out, and then get responses. And here, and this is on a property that's located out in Florida. And basically, I created the scope of work, put it on my platform so that all vendors in the state of Florida and throughout the United States could look and see that there was a need for this property, which is a horse stable that's being demoed into a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. And within a 3-hour window of me posting the first marketing piece, which was the scope of work and a conversation via email, I had at least 2 to 3 vendors that contacted me within the first 3 hours for a complete demo rehab wanting the construction drawings. And it was me trying to test out the waters and show good faith. And on the first response, we were able to get in 3 hours. And here we have Lynn Ottenmeyer, who is the banker for the funding piece for these rehabs and remodels that's being done. And she was unable to get anybody to take a look at the property for over a year and give bids. And in a 3-hour period, we were able to get at least 2 to 3 responses. So she says, well, this is encouraging. So these are the things that kind of make me excited about what's going on at Proposabid. And in this, what we also have here is a second testimonial from her a few days later, where based on the fact that we were able to do this large marketing piece based on the scopes of work that we had done, how we marketed that scope of work, and the way we engaged with the vendor. In her 20 years, she had never seen this type of mass marketing and mass response. So the borrower struggled for over a year to attract the vendors, propose a bid within hours of initiating marketing. I'm just highlighting this stuff. There was a first serious interest within those first few hours. And in a mere 8 days, we secured 11 bid inquiries for that property, which is absolutely unheard of. And we're very proud of what we're able to do for our clients. And I actually did this for free as a testing phase for this particular property to see how our marketing piece could really be stretched and harmonized to be able to bring the vendors on site and bring the bid acquisitions into a close. So what is Proposabid essentially made of outside of those three main parts? Well, we have a project insight pro. So basically we create comprehensive insights into project intricacies, ensuring thorough understanding and informed decision-making. So basically we're able to go into a project and see with clarity what needs to be pulled out to create the scopes of work. We're able to streamline those resources, take people off of your team and reallocate them into the other parts of your business that you need them to be in so that they're able to not have to focus on the scope, the marketing piece, and the work that needs to be done in order to close these bids. And we're also able to identify project requirements, any priorities that are needed up front, and then minimize that waste and that effort that we were talking about there. And then we're also able to create that roadmap efficiency, meaning that we have a detailed assessment that we're able to create a smoother project execution and a timely completion. So that's our Project Insight Pro. The second piece that builds Proposabid is the scope of work mastery or scope mastery. In other words, we're able to create these customized, tailorized scopes of work that are crafted precisely for the project requirements. And that way the deliverables and the expectations are already set. And when you create these scopes of work, that's actually giving the message to the vendors that this is what is needed, and they're more likely to respond to those scopes of work. Most property management companies, small mom and pops and investors don't create scopes of work, and therefore they're wasting their time on their phone, emails, trying to contact vendors who never respond to their needs. And sometimes these properties will have extended periods of time where they can't close out their property repairs. So that what we do is that we increase the efficiency and basically create tasks and requirements that creates workflows for the vendors to follow. And then we're also a liaison between the stakeholders and the vendors so that there's a reduction in misunderstanding and streamlining the bidding process. So your on-site staff never really needs to interact with the vendors. That scope of work and the vendors and myself will have those conversations and then tailorize the bids based on the needs of the project having to do that. When they're trying to collect rent, you might have a young woman that just got out of college or an older woman that doesn't even know how to really read bids or how to really read roofs. So that's how we take that out. And then we also have something called a horizon span marketing. And basically you'll get access to a vast majority of our vendors, which is over 380,000 vendors nationwide, expanding your market reach. So for instance, this Latchahatchee project actually had someone from New Jersey respond to this bid. How did that happen? It's because we're able to post our bids on our website in a secure site, and therefore all of our vendors get to take a look and bid on those scopes of work that are being targeted. So that actually drives down prices, creates competition among the vendors, and also creates value for the clients, which is what we're looking for. Okay. And then the fourth piece we have is our precision pricing analyzer. And this is really important because when you get a bid, sometimes it's just words and it doesn't tell you exactly what the vendor plans on doing, what materials they need to use, how much the labor is, what equipment, any overhead costs. And in that, we have a specialized platform which we're able to pull out that pricing, analyze that pricing based on the area in which you're in, the state and zip code. So therefore, you get the best pricing possible. And you can actually utilize those detailed cost optimizations. This is going to be very important in any bidding platform is going to be important, especially for banks and rehabs, because when you're trying to get that bank funding, they're going to want that itemized scopes of work and bids. And it's also important for even the small mom and pops so that they know exactly what they're getting into. Any questions so far? No? Okay. All right. So what is the investment? What is your investment to get started right away? Now, I'm not asking anybody to get started right away, but for people who actually need these types of resources, these investments definitely cost money, right? And so this is typically our pricing structure. And this information in the right hands is worth almost $30,000 or $40,000 because the Project Insight Pro is the property and project deep dive, right? The scope mastery, the tailored and customized SOs for rehabs and structures and for large portfolios for property management company. The marketing piece alone can be pretty extensive, especially when you have large projects. And then the bid analyzation for the customized pricing is also something that is built into Proposabid, so that way you're able to get those itemized pricing and be able to negotiate better prices along the way.